If the Sharia law was implicated all over Europe today, how much time would the people need, like me and you and the people on the street, how much time would we need to adapt to it?
Well, in a sense, the question probably needs to be reassessed, because for something like the Sharia law to be adopted within not only the UK but Europe in general, it needs to go through the people and the citizens themselves and whether they'd be happy. So it's an electoral system. So it'd be up to the citizens of the countries within themselves whether they'd be happy to have Sharia law adopted, and not so much whether how long it will take for the implications and so on and so forth. Okay.
I think people seem to believe that Muslims are calling for a separate legal system running alongside the British legal system. People saying you can't have two sets of laws. Well, there is already a set of laws. Sharia law also applies to the diet of Muslims as well. So it determines what's halal, what's haram. You know, it affects finance hugely, but nobody complains about Sharia finance, and that's because it's business and that's about money. But for some reason, having another legal system or another set of rules that are recognised by a group within Britain is seen as a threat.
Piccadilly Circus Station, it's the typical London postcard, because that's right, I'm in the centre of the city where all types of people are here enjoying their afternoon. So we're going to bother them a little bit and get their opinion.
Whereas Sharia law is a foreign imported thing based on a scripture that we don't believe in, that's nothing to do with us, that is irrelevant to us. If people want to live, I mean, people can, if there are particular aspects of that which are a good idea, then they could be incorporated in the normal democratic way as a rule in itself. That would make sense. But to actually import the thing as because it's Sharia law is totally wrong. And if people want to live that way, they should go and live in other countries.
I think that problem can be solved with the new generation and the Muslim that are here in the UK. You know, even they defend about you know, their religious. I think everybody should do it, but they just have to know that they live also in West, in UK, and then how they can become integrated in societies.
It's very good for everything, for living. I think that.
Do you think it's compatible?
This is from the God, the Allah, for behavior of human, relationship between human. That's I think. And it's our belief as Muslim.
I don't think we should. Because we're British, aren't we? We should stick to the British rules, shouldn't we? Yeah. Here, anyway. Yeah.
I would say it's not compatible because I would argue it doesn't really give people the freedom of choice. It's basically, my view of Sharia law would be, okay, this is what it says, this is what you do. There's no open, you could argue there's no option for debate about whether it's right or wrong.
I don't think it ever will be compatible with UK law. There's too many different views on what is right and what is wrong in this world. I don't think they could ever be mixed. They could live alongside each other, but they can never be mixed.
I think it's too oppressive for women. I don't think it's compatible with anybody's human rights, frankly. And no, I can't see how it could possibly work in this country, let alone any European or westernised country.
Well, talking about citizens, we were on the streets today. I mean, we've been in London all morning talking to people about the law. Most people didn't even know what it was. Most people were unsure about it. There's been a lot of controversy about it. I mean, some people even said it went against human rights legislation. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I disagree with that, because there's you have to look at with anything in its entirety as well. And many people across the planet, for example, those in the Far East, they would think that some parts of the Eastern or European law goes against some parts of human rights as well, or Western culture. Now, for example, it's a whole jurisprudence, i.e. you have family law, contractual law, and so on and so forth. But we regard it as God's law, and God's law as the highest law there being, and not being kind to humankind in itself. Okay.
I think one of the things that's come out recently is how divided the Muslim community is. We recently had Sadiq Khan, who's a Minister for Community Affairs, who's a Muslim, saying that he felt that Sharia law was incompatible with Western values of equality and human rights. And there are a number of Muslim women who choose not to have their disputes dealt with by Sharia law. There are others who do. And one of the issues that people are concerned about is, as I said, to have your dispute governed by a Sharia court, you have to agree. It's not like the English courts, which have the jurisdiction to deal with all cases. Sharia courts are voluntary. However, people are asking how free a woman is to choose to have her dispute regulated by a Sharia court. If she's in a community where she's not particularly influential or powerful, could she really opt out and say, I'm not really comfortable with having this dealt with by Sharia, I want access to the English courts? I think you have to look at the wider cultural issues affecting women in these communities to see whether they really do have a free choice.
It's not that much different, but media exaggerated, but usually Sharia law is quite good, I don't see any harm, as far as, law, it means, make the people more decent, it does help the society, whether English or non-English or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think it will, because there are so many Arabs here and so many Muslims, so I think it would be compatible, also because I think it's very just.
There's a lot of that is considered by most of the world to be very repressive to women, but in my personal opinion, no, I don't see it as a good thing, because you can't have a law for each individual group, and so I mean you can have your own a little bit of that, but to have your own law, for this people and this people, and
The reason that people mistrust Sharia law with regards to personal matters is that generally women don't fare as well when it comes to divorce proceedings. They believe that when marriages and divorces are carried out within the Sharia system, the women are discriminated against. So, for example, it's harder for a woman to get divorced, or it's harder for her to remarry once she has been divorced because there are community pressures on her. Same with custody of children. And also, for example, if a Muslim woman's father dies, she will receive less money than her siblings, whereas under British law, of course, that wouldn't happen. It might be divided more equally.
I think the major issue that's hindering a positive and constructive debate about this is the lack of information. Very few people, lawyers included, understand what's actually happening. Coupled with that, there's been some sensationalist press coverage which stokes up the kind of fears that are always latent about culture clashes, loss of British legal and social values. I don't think that's helpful in actually having a serious conversation about what has happened so far and where should things go in the future. And I think people do need to be a lot better informed if there can be a constructive dialogue about that.
There seems to be a lot of misunderstanding about what exactly the Sharia law is. That's why Europocket travelled to London and spent the last few days talking to locals on the street, members of the Muslim community in the Central London Mosque, and even experts on the topic. So now the only one left to say their voice is you. Drop us a comment or send us an email. Looking forward to hearing from you.